Howdy, partner. Ready to step back in time to the rowdiest, grittiest saloons the Wild West had to offer? Well, today, we're serving up a side of history with a heaping helping of the most unusual dishes that once graced the tables and sometimes the floors of frontier taverns. But before we dig in, don't forget to hit that like button. We've got more culinary adventures planned that will leave you saying more grub, please. All right, let's dive right in. Number 20, beans and salt pork. Outlaws, cowboys, and everyone in between all relied on this simple dish. Why? Because it was cheap, filling, and lasted a long time. Most folks preferred navy beans, but any kind would do in a pinch. Meanwhile, salt pork, well, it added some much-needed flavor and fat to the mix. To make it, you just needed a pot, some water, and a fire. Add the beans and salt pork, let it boil, and then simmer until those beans were soft enough to be eaten with a spoon. As far as cowboy cuisine goes, this was about as basic as it got, which is exactly why it was such a hit. No fuss, no muss, just pure sustenance. They even gave it a nickname, Cowboy Caviar. Number 19, sourdough biscuits. Imagine biting into a warm, golden-hued biscuit, its crust crackling like a winter fire, and its insides fluffy as a cloud. That was the magic of a good sourdough biscuit. Back in the day, cowboys carried the dough for these biscuits in their saddlebags, letting the motion of the train keep the starter lively. Then at camp, they'd bake them in Dutch ovens over the campfire. But let's be real, it wasn't just about the taste. It was also about the ritual. Making biscuits from a sourdough starter was an art form, and the starter itself was a treasure. It was passed down like a family heirloom, carried across rugged trails and cherished as a reminder of home. If you lost your sourdough starter, it was akin to losing a friend. It may sound crazy, but that's just how important it was. Number 18, hardtack. Ever heard of a cracker so tough it could double as a weapon? Meet hardtack, the quintessential Wild West snack. This thing was so hard and dry, it could survive not just a day, but months in a saddlebag, and it didn't melt in your mouth. No siree, it ground your teeth instead. But here's the kicker. It didn't even taste that bad. Imagine a plain old saltine cracker, but with twice the grit. And when you bit into it, it crunched like a gunshot. But despite its rough edges, it was a lifesaver. Now, with a few crumbs and a cup of coffee, you could pretend for a moment that you weren't staring down the barrel of hunger. Some went as far as using hardtack as makeshift playing cards. Now that's what you call tough cookies. Number 17, buffalo stew. Back in the day, the Great Plains were a buffalo kingdom. Herds so massive, they blotted out the sun, roamed free, and when they did migrate, every part of the animal was used, especially during hunts. Entire towns could feast on buffalo meat for days. This was more than just a culinary feat. It was a celebration, a way of life. These buffalo weren't just food. They were a symbol of the untamed spirit of the frontier. To understand the importance of buffalo in Native American culture is to appreciate the respect and reverence they held for these magnificent creatures. Bison played a pivotal role in their ceremonies, their clothing, their food, and their very survival. It was common to see every part of the buffalo utilized. Nothing was wasted. Their hides were used for clothing and shelter, their meat for sustenance, and even their bones and sinew found uses in tools and crafts. This deep connection to the land and its resources was a testament to the ingenuity and sustainability of Native American tribes who thrived in these lands for centuries. Number 16, fried catfish. Picture this, a scorching summer day along the muddy banks of a river. The air thick with humidity and the promise of a storm. Suddenly a splashing sound breaks the stillness. A catfish leaps from the water, glistening under the sun. And right there by the river, folks would cast their lines and reel in dinner. Later, back in the saloon, the catch of the day would get the star treatment, dredged in cornmeal, and fried in hot lard until it was crispy and golden. This southern staple had migrated west, and it wasn't hard to see why. Who could resist a platter of juicy, crispy fried catfish? In a world where every bite mattered, this was a true gem. Number 15, prairie chicken. Don't let the name fool you. There ain't no chickens roaming the prairie. Here's a bird known as prairie chicken, or sometimes grouse. They were plentiful, plump, and pretty tasty too. Imagine a plump little grouse bronzed by the setting sun, its skin a rich tapestry of gold and red. When they were in season, it was a celebratory meal. Often they'd be roasted over an open flame, seasoned with the wild onions, and served with a side of mashed potatoes or corn. This wasn't just a meal, it was a toast to the bounty of the land. Number 14. Johnny Cakes. In the heart of the Wild West, time was precious, and hunger pangs didn't care for patience. Enter Johnny Cakes, a dish that came together faster than a gunfight at high noon. All it took was cornmeal, water, and a hot stone. Mix the ingredients, roll it out, and slap it on a nearby stone, heated beside the campfire. In minutes, you had a flatbread that could be eaten as it is, or used to wrap up other goodies. Number 13. Venison jerky. This ain't your ordinary beef jerky, partner. In the Wild West, when fresh meat was a rare treat, hunters turned to deer meat, dried it, salted it, and cut it into strips. Voila, venison jerky, a high-protein snack that could last for ages. Imagine sinking your teeth into a slice of chewy, salty venison, each bite a burst of wild flavor. It wasn't fancy, but in a world where every morsel counted, it was a godsend. Number 12. Rabbit pie. Outlaws and mountain men alike knew how to turn a humble rabbit into a feast, fit for a king, or maybe a very hungry trapper. After a day of tracking and trapping, small game like rabbits was a godsend. Skinned, cleaned, and seasoned, they were often baked in crusts made from lard and flour. With fillings that ranged from spicy peppers to dried fruits, it wasn't just food, it was a testament to the resourcefulness of those who roamed the wild frontier. Number 11. Molasses cornbread. When the going got tough, cornbread was the dish that stuck around. And when I say cornbread, I mean molasses cornbread, sweet, dense, and oh, so comforting. It was a rare treat in the saloons of the Wild West, a moment of respite from the harsh realities outside. Imagine sinking your teeth into a slice of warm cornbread, its molasses sweetness a soothing balm in a world that seemed determined to chew you up and spit you out. Number 10. Pickled eggs. Step into any old Western movie, and you're bound to spot them. Those mysterious jars lurking behind the saloon bar, pickled eggs. That's right. They were a staple in frontier taverns. Salty, sour, and strangely addictive. And they weren't just a snack, they were a conversation piece, a dare, a challenge. Mind, imagine biting into a perfectly pickled egg, its yolk a sunny orb of surprise, in a world where surprises were a dime a dozen. Number 9. Coffee and chicory. In the dusty saloons of the Wild West, coffee wasn't just a drink, it was a lifeline. But real coffee was a rare luxury. Folks turned to chicory root, a bitter coffee substitute that could stretch their supplies. They roasted and ground the chicory root, brewed it up, and voila, a drink that could kickstart your day and keep you going strong. It wasn't the same, but in a world where the sun beat down and the work never ended, it was a welcome pick-me-up. No, ate campfire chili. Forget your fancy recipes. Outlaws weren't fussy eaters, but they sure did love their chili. I'm not talking about the kind with tomatoes and beans. This was frontier-style meat, and beans simmered over a campfire until it was thick enough to stand a spoon up in it. And yeah, there were spices involved, but they were as mysterious as the outlaws themselves. Each gunslinger had their own recipe, their own secrets, and they guarded them closely. Number 7. Roasted corn. Corn was a staple in the Wild West, eaten fresh off the cob, dried for the winter, or even ground into meal. But the kernels were so versatile that sometimes they were just tossed into the fire. Yes, you heard that right. Roasted corn was a treat, a burst of sweetness in a world that often tasted like dust and despair. Imagine plucking an ear of corn from the husk, roasting it over an open fire until the kernels were plump and juicy. In the hard scrabble of frontier life, it was a simple pleasure that brought a smile to many a weathered face. No, 6. Apple Brown Betty. Life on the frontier wasn't all bad. Sure, there were outlaws and wild animals, but there were also treats like Apple Brown Betty. This dessert was made from stale bread, apples and sugar, baked until it was golden and bubbly. It was a rare indulgence in the saloons of the Wild West, a moment of respite from the harsh realities outside. Imagine sinking your teeth into a slice of Apple Brown Betty, its cinnamon-scented apples, a sweet melody in a world that often played a sour tune. No. 5. Liver and onions. Now hold your horses, partner. because we're about to serve up a dish that's not for the faint of heart: liver and onions. Yep, you heard right, the stuff that makes you want to slap your mama. Don't knock it till you try it, because in the saloons of the Wild West, this was a beloved classic. Imagine a sizzling pan of liver and onions in a cast iron skillet, their rich juices mingling with a splash of whiskey. It might not sound fancy, but in a world where every bite was a gamble, it was a comforting sight. Number 4, wild mushroom ragu. The Wild West was a land of extremes, and that extended to its cuisine. While some folks were digging into hearty stews, others were foraging for morels and other wild mushrooms. If you knew what you were doing, you could turn those foraged finds into a wild mushroom ragu, a risky yet rewarding dish. Imagine a rustic bowl of wild mushroom ragu, its earthy aroma, a siren's call, and a world of rugged simplicity. No. 3, oxtail soup. On a cold winter night in the Wild West, there was nothing quite like a bowl of oxtail soup. It was a symphony of flavors, rich, fatty, and deeply satisfying. The broth clung to every bone, whispering tales of the trail and the tavern. It was a dish that warmed the soul and soothed the weary. Every saloon had its version, every cook had their secret, but the result was always the same: a comforting embrace in a bowl. No. 2, cactus salad. You wouldn't think much of a prickly pear cactus, but in the hands of a frontiersman, it became a culinary delight. First, they'd slice the pads, soak them in cold water, drain them, then toss them in vinegar and some salt. It was a tangy, crunchy treat that added some much-needed freshness to the dusty trails. Imagine biting into a slice of prickly pear cactus, its vibrant pink flesh a burst of juicy surprise in a world where every bite was a gamble. No. 1, whiskey bread pudding. What better way to end a night in the Wild West than with a slice of whiskey bread pudding? This dessert was a boozy adventure: leftover bread soaked in whiskey, eggs, and sugar, then baked until it was golden-hued and bubbling with mischief. It was a playful twist to end a hearty saloon evening. Imagine sinking your teeth into a slice of whiskey bread pudding, its rich caramel a playful wink in a world where every sunset was a gamble. Well, that's our saloon sing-along for today. Did your favorite dish make the cut? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more rooting tootin' good times. Till next time, happy trails and bon appetit, y'all.